So he recognized what his body has left, what he can do, and what he can't do. It used to be, and you know this as well as anybody, he would kill himself in training before, and he'd box 30 rounds one day, get up at 5 in the morning, go out and run 7 miles and do like 2,500 sit-ups, and then go box 30 rounds the next day. He's not doing that anymore. So, he doesn't have that, explosive knockout power that he once had, but he has the ability to box and he has the ability to move. And so he's maximized it. When he feels like, he's a little bit sluggish, he takes a day off. He looked in magnificent shape up on the scale today. I thought he looked tremendous.
You'd think there'd be distractions involved with his political career. He's a senator. And in fact, you sat down for a lengthy interview with Pacquiao. You can tell people how they can view that, and then talk about his two careers and how he's able to focus on both of them.
Well, long ago, one of Manny's former managers, Nick Khan, said to me, "Manny loves the chaos," and that was probably the best line I ever heard spoken about Manny Pacquiao, and it is so true. And Manny just thrives on having things going on. And so, he's able to separate. When it's boxing time, he does boxing. When it's time to work on politics and legislation in the Philippines, he does that. He doesn't have a lot of downtime. He's not kicking back with his feet off, drinking lemonade, sitting on the couch, his shoes off, and his feet up on the table. He doesn't do that, but he is a brilliant multitasker, and he just is always going, always has something happening, and he's just used to the rhythm of this.
Keith Thurman is a very talented guy. I mean, we've known for quite some time now that he was going to progress through the ranks and eventually be fighting the elites in the division. From a talent standpoint, and when you factor in his age, I think he's got a great chance to win this fight. But he's never been on a stage this big, and it's old hat to Pacquiao. Right. How big a factor is that?
Well, I don't think he's going to be overcome by the moment, Dave. But I think what the big moment, to my way of thinking, is going to be is he got married a couple of years ago. He's had some injuries. He's made a lot of money in his boxing career. Does he still have the desire? When push comes to shove, and when it really gets in the tough going, does he have the desire to slog through that? And I think that is the question about Keith. Keith has the physical skills. He has the smarts to win this fight. There's no doubt. But does he still care as much as he used to care? I'm not 100% certain that he does. That's what informed my pick when I picked Pacquiao by decision. And
it does figure to be a fight, I think, that does go the distance. So the strategy here is going to be really important. Pacquiao will not be fighting 3 minutes every round. He doesn't do that anymore. Thurman has to find a way to make sure that Manny doesn't steal rounds with the 60 seconds he does fight each round.
I think you're going to see. I mean, Pacquiao's had an unbelievable camp. He's had an unbelievable camp, and I think he's going to fight close to 3 minutes a round as he can. So I do believe you'll see him going. So I think it's going to be a hell of a fight, Dave.
From a betting standpoint, the money is pouring in on Pacquiao. That's not surprising because he's got the fan base, but at least to this point in time, the sharp market is not taking the underdog. I don't know whether they will come fight time or not, but this is a fight where the books open Thurman as the favorite by about 130, and now Pacquiao's 170. So there's a lot of money on Manny.
It's amazing. I didn't realize it was that much. I saw 160 before we did our pre-fight show, which I should mention. Go to Yahoo Sports later. We'll have the full pre-fight show that we did. We had Errol Spence, we had Manny Pacquiao, we had Danny Garcia, Ray Mancini was on, the analyst for Fox Sports, who's going to be broadcasting the fight tomorrow. So we will have that up there. But I didn't see that. When we went on the air, it was minus 160. So you're saying it went to 170. So it just in the moment, there's people betting.
That could be just a different source quoting from a different casino. So we're not looking at where you're looking at. I do have one question for you, Kevin. You talked about you thought it would go the whole way, and the total is 11.5, and it's juiced minus 350 or 330 to the over. So obviously they believe it's going to go the distance. Any chance you think there's a knockout, or you just think it's a play to stay away from?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? There was just security here trying to push us away. Can you repeat that real quick?
There's a total of 11.5. So obviously they believe that it's going to go the entire distance, and it's used heavily to the over. You think it's worth a long shot? You're getting 250 to take under 11.5. And any chance, or you think it's just a bet to stay away with because it'll go the distance?
I think it's going to go the distance. I really do. I understand if you want to take a flyer and say, hey, you might have a 10th round stoppage or something like that. Because both guys have the power, but I believe that we're going to be in a position where it goes the whole distance. We are going to have. I'm going to have to jump because we got Freddie Roach coming over, so I apologize. Say
hi to Freddie and tell him go Red Sox for me.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Freddie Roach, of course, one of the great trainers in the business, and guy's had a heck of a career in and out of the ring. As a trainer, he's been outstanding. So, this is a fight where I really want to. I said this yesterday, and it's like I'm thinking about taking what I think is value with Thurman because the books open Thurman as the favorite, knowing full well they were going to get overloaded with Pacquiao money. But Kevin's really close to the fighters. I mean, he's arguably the most read fight writer in the world. He's been doing it with Yahoo for years and years and years, and their viewership is enormous. And those were interesting comments on Thurman in terms of questioning whether he's as hungry as he used to be. That's a pause for concern comment to me.
Well, if you're leaning the Pacquiao route, then you could always just parlay Pacquiao on the over, and you get it down to even money.
See, I'm not leaning Pacquiao. I mean,
you just thought the value with a 50 cent, 70 cent switch.
Yeah, and the fact that I don't think odds makers are dumb, and either they put up a really bad number on the fight, or Pacquiao's an overlay at minus 160 or minus 170. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't know. I haven't decided what to do with it. I might end up doing nothing with the fight. Are you planning to watch it?
No. I am not.
Neither am I, to be honest.
My question would be off the top of my head. Kevin talked about Thurman getting married and having some distractions. How many fights has he had since that, and how has he looked in those few fights? Obviously, Kevin follows that, and for him to make that statement, he must think there's some sort of pattern there.
Well, I know one thing. It's a heck of a fight. And if you are looking for a good pay-per-view fight, I think this is one that should deliver. I'm not saying it's going to be frantic entertainment for 12 rounds because I do think it's a fight that's going the distance, and I think it's going to be a boxing match. But it should be good, and I will tell you going in, I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of 12 rounds we've got some kind of controversy in the scoring.
Scorekeeping controversy of boxing.
That's the way it always seems to go. The draw does not offer very good value because, again, the odds makers aren't stupid. They realize this fight could be a draw, but I wouldn't rule it out. On paper, this is, to me, one of those fights where you could have one judge one way, one judge the other way, and one judge lands at 114. To me, there needs to be a knockdown in this fight somewhere, a knockdown in this fight to kind of get a 10-8 round, and that might be the difference in the fight. Should be fun. We'll come back. We'll take a look at our WagerTalk marquee matchup as the Nationals and Braves battle it out tonight down in Atlanta, plus our Lions Physical Therapy Play of the Day next.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
And with John Lyons from Lyons Physical Therapy, and it's not just you at LPT. You've got a staff of really experienced, qualified people.
Yeah, Dave, we have 3 other physical therapists on staff with combined over 50 years experience with those other 3 physical therapists. Our therapists specialize in different treatments. We do some trigger point dry needling. We do a lot of manual therapy involving massage, joint mobilizations. We also have physical therapy assistants and massage therapists that help treat our patients' injuries.
LionsPTLV.com, 702-476-0222.
Follow us on Twitter at the LV Sportsline and at ESPN Las Vegas.
What's hot today? It's time for the WagerTalk marquee matchup of the night. WagerTalk.com. Start winning now.
All right, here we go. Nationals and Braves. Last night it was all Washington. Steven Strasburg leading the way, pitching well early and providing lots of offense on his own as the Nationals routed the Braves last night. The Braves backed up Julio Teheran from last night to tonight. He'll be on the mound for Atlanta and facing Patrick Corbin, who after slumping for a little bit, has relocated his command and has been pitching sharp ball for the Nationals. They've won his last few starts. Corbin not as good on the road as at home this year, but I think right now if you're looking at the current form charts, you'd have to be impressed with Corbin. Tehran's had a good season for the Atlanta Braves. Look, a lot of the numbers suggest he's going to regress, but until those regressions take place, it's guesswork to try and surmise when that's going to happen. Ralph, what do you think about this game?
I just can't not be on the Nationals, just the way they're playing. I mean, they're now 32-13, their last 45 games. They have that methodology going where they're hitting well. They're hitting 284 since the break. The Braves are only hitting 220 since the All-Star break. This is the same stat I mentioned yesterday when we talked about Atlanta. Yes, they're 14-5 at home, but they're 14-1 when they're a 135 favorite or more, and they're 0-5 as a dog or a small favorite. And the Atlanta Braves won their first 2 games as a home dog this year, but they've lost their last 5. So they're 0-5, their last 5 as a home dog. So we're just seeing the Braves fall back. The offense isn't the same as it was.
No, and they've cooled off a bit. I think they've lost 4 in a row now, right? Or 3 in a row?
They've lost 3 in a row now, yeah. And the wins, they played the Padres and the Marlins prior to that when they went into the break. But I just don't see the bats doing the same thing. I see them starting to fall back a little bit. And when you have a team like the Nationals that are just that red hot, you're still getting value on them compared to what they would if this were the beginning of the season.
Can't argue with that, and that might give you a clue as to what we'll be using for our Lions Physical Therapy Play of the Day, because we both have the same opinion in this game. You have some opinions in the National Football League, and I know this week WagerTalk did videos on, different divisions, was it?
It was. Well, Kelly and I have been doing a division a week on the video. So this week we did the NFC West, and it's really the strongest division where I felt I have the most confidence at where the teams will finish.
Well, let's talk about one that you actually made a bet on.
It is, and I made a bet on 3 of them. You know, Seattle's 8.5. I think they're going to regress. I have them down. Arizona at 5. I have them on the under as well. But my favorite is the San Francisco 49ers. You've talked often about Bosa going to the 49ers, how that's going to change it. You know, as hyped as everyone was last year when Garoppolo won his first 4 games, that's about how hyped I am. The couple veterans they got in, Matthews, the Philadelphia receiver, I think can do enough to put him over the edge. The Atlanta running back they have in. And how's this just from a statistical standpoint? Since 2000, since the last 19 seasons, only 2 teams in the NFL have had 25 or more turnovers, a diff of minus 25 or more. San Fran last year and the Browns 2 years ago.
In the 49ers, it's very understandable last year because they lost Garoppolo for the season and basically had to go with a rookie, completely untested rookie
who
at
played
quarterback.
well, but turned the ball
played well,
over.
But he made a lot of rookie mistakes.
Since 2005, the 8 teams that were minus 21 or more in turnovers, everyone has improved by at least 2 games. Collectively, they've improved on average by 6.4 wins. So you're looking at some historic jumps from one season to the next. And in the NFL, turnovers are such an equalizing factor.
Huge.
And no team is going to have that amount of turnovers in back-to-back seasons. It's not going to happen. You're going to have a return to normalcy. You may not be on the positive side, but you're certainly not going to be to that negative side. Put that together, and I think the hype obviously was a year early last year. As long as Garoppolo stays healthy, which obviously anytime you're betting, you're counting on your quarterback to stay healthy.
And what was the bet you made?
I made 2 bets. Over 8 wins.
Okay.
And plus 240 to make the playoffs. So, again, plus 240 shows you how confident I feel about them going into the season.
Did you mull over taking a shot at them to win the division? Because the Rams are going to be the favorite, and, you'll get an attractive price.
It was only 5-1, so no, I didn't. Seattle was 3-1. They were 5-1. At 5-1, I didn't feel there was enough value. I'm getting plus 240 to make the playoffs. I thought there was more value in that.
Okay. I think that's – I like the 49ers as well. I know that I often don't like taking teams that are somewhat popular choices, but the 49ers were a real popular choice last year, and we'll never know what kind of a football team they might have been. They just had an amazing run of injuries early last season, And to me, what they did was not all that bad considering how torn apart the team became because of those injuries. So I don't look at last year as a failure for the 49ers. And I think they're a very capable team that could make the playoffs as well.
They lost to Minnesota by, I believe, 8 in the opener by a touchdown.
And
then they beat Detroit.
And the Garoppolo got hurt in
the KC game when they lost by 7 or 8 or 9. So they were in that game as well. So completely agree. I'm going to make one more note on the low end. On the